Hey guys, and welcome to the first ever RSA Meet the People podcast. Today I'm here with
Lara.
and we have something super special in common that you guys will learn about in a quick second. I forgot that we were the same age, which makes it even crazier actually. So something about the both of us is we both had like similar type cancers. You had osteosarcoma, which is Terry Fox.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I had, it's called Dermatofibrosarcoma, which is like
a lot more syllables.
Yeah, it's a DFSP, which for short. That's our special thing, is that we have matching scars, and that's how I got to know you, kinda. For the people that don't really understand your diagnosis or like what you had, like what can you...
I'll just
like,
kind of explain the story behind getting diagnosed. So I got diagnosed I think it was 2 weeks into grade 9.
Because
grade 9. Yeah, already a tough time, obviously, for lots of reasons. But I had leg pain for like a year and a half, and it was just like passed off as growing pains, or I was really active, so like just some kind of sports injury. And then finally, well, first I did like physio and all this stuff. Finally, they sent me for a bone scan, and it's like a big MRI machine, and you can see your actual skeleton in the TV above you while you're getting done, which is crazy.
Oh, I've never done that before.
It's wild. And then as soon as my right leg went under it, it was just like glowing green on the picture.
And you could see it in real time.
And I asked the like nurse who was doing it, I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, I'm actually not allowed to say. I was at Grand River in Kitchener, and then I had been called back that night, and they were like, yeah, we have to send you to London, which my mom, of course, like researches everything right away, and she's like, well, that's the cancer specialist hospital, so like we kind of had an idea. And then 2 biopsies later, they said when they like drilled into my leg, it was like an eggshell. So I couldn't walk on it after that point, because if I moved wrong, it would like shatter, which would have been horrible.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So then I eventually got diagnosed at Sick Kids in Toronto. Osteosarcoma is a pretty aggressive form of bone cancer. I feel like everybody knows through Terry Fox, but they don't really measure it in like stages like other cancers.
So there's not like stage 1, stage 2?
Yeah, it's more based on the size of your tumor when they find it, and if it's already metastasized to your lungs, because that's the first place it'll hit after your bone. And so mine was the size of a tennis ball, which is pretty big for in the tibia region, but it hadn't reached my lungs yet, which I'm really grateful for. So that's like, I would have guessed maybe like a stage 3.
Yeah, stage 3. So I didn't know that it would hit some bone and then move up to your lungs.
Yeah, because it gets carried in your bloodstream. So it can really, that's why it's such an aggressive form, because it starts at your bone and then it just kind of targets.
And that's why you need
else.
to like attack it as soon as possible.
Yeah. Another thing about osteosarcoma is that a lot of chances are it'll come back in your lungs. Like that's why the 5-year period of remission is known as the danger zone.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm out of that now. That was like the biggest fear of mine, is that it was going to come back in my lungs, and then that's a whole different like treatment process. But
well, thank God you're okay. Yeah. So mine was DFSP. I don't know like a crazy amount, because when I had it I was 2.
Yeah.
So like I honestly don't remember much.
It's crazy to think about like 2-year-olds having cancer, and like
it's crazy for me to think about like a teenager having cancer.
At least the one thing that I always say is at least I knew what was going on, and my parents could explain things to me, whereas like being a parent of a 2-year-old with cancer, you can't explain why you're always at the hospital.
Yeah, that's true.
It would be terrible.
Yeah. The good thing is I don't remember that time, but my mom was like, that was like the worst time of her whole life, because it was like I was so small. Yeah, DFSP, I don't know like a crazy amount of stuff honestly about it. I would love to see my charts, because they actually studied, because I also went to Sick Kids, they studied my leg and like made it into like, I don't know, charts for other doctors to use, because it's so rare for like a 2-year-old. I just know that when I searched up DFSP, it normally affects people within like 40 plus. So like the fact that I had it at 2 was like really strange. And it affects like 1 in like a million people like in the States. That's like the statistic I could find. So it's like super rare. So they used my scans or my like all my stuff to help other doctors for like
That's
kids
crazy.
who might have it because it's so rare. Okay, so speaking of how you got diagnosed, since you were 13, you obviously like knew what was going on. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. Grade 9, like you're supposed to like figure yourself out and like boom, you're actually just gonna go through this. What was like your like how did they tell you? Like did you go in a room? Like
I think when I was at London that first night, they had said in like the emergency room, like not the waiting room, but when you're in like one of those little kind of still not very private.
Yeah.
And because London is a health sciences hospital, so there's a bunch of students there all the time.
Oh, really?
I had a student doctor that was with them come in, and they were basically telling me this is what we think it is. Like I still had to go for a biopsy at this point, but it was pretty like And she was like jumped right into explaining how like they could do rotational plasty. I don't know if you've heard about that surgery.
No.
It's wild, especially to hear about the night that you're getting diagnosed with something.
The night that your boom told you have cancer.
Yeah, she's like, they cut your leg off right above the knee and they take your foot and put it backwards and your ankle joint is your knee joint.
I've heard of that.
Which is a crazy surgery and it's awesome, but I'm like, I don't want to hear this right now.
Like, what? Yeah. That's scary.
So that was a lot. And then my mom always says the first things that I said, I don't really remember much about that night, but I said, because they were telling me obviously what the cancer was, and they're like, oh, this is what Terry Fox had. And so my first questions to doctor were, am I going to have to get my leg amputated and am I going to die?
Yeah.
And that was like probably my train of thought. And from then until like halfway through treatment when it actually started working, that I was like, I don't remember ever being like really scared, but I think I probably also like cut a lot of it out of my memory.
That's what I think too, like with mine, because I'm like, I definitely like a form of like PTSD / trauma, like totally avoided. Like I don't remember anything, probably half because I was so young, but also half because like your brain just like processes trauma and like buries it deep down.
Sick Kids, I will say, handled it a lot.
I love Sick Kids.
Me too. I would have loved. I did all of my treatment. I had the choice between McMaster, London, or Sick Kids, and I would have loved to do it at Sick Kids, but we just didn't want to drive into Toronto from Guelph.
Oh yeah, because I guess you're closer.
Yeah, London's just an easier drive, but Sick Kids was definitely my favorite.
Yeah, we're both graduated now from Sick Kids. Did you graduate? Like, do you know? It just basically like we're too old for it.
Oh,
so yeah, you can only be 18, and then you go up. And I was like, dang it.
That's true. I only went back for, which is another thing I wanted to talk about with you, is like aftercare and stuff. If you have to do anything now.
Yeah. I don't do much. Basically, when I got I was the same thing. Like, they told my parents. So the way I got diagnosed was, I had like a tiny bump on my leg. My mom said it was like the size of a piece of rice. That's how it started. And then it like started getting bigger and bigger. And they went to like multiple hospitals, like not just one or two. Like I don't know exactly how many, but like a lot. And they're all like, it's just like skin tissue, or like it's just a growth, like it's nothing. And then I fell down the stairs. I don't know how 100% accurate this story is, but this is how I know it. I fell down the stairs and my leg like got super swollen, and like it was like so bad. They're like, no, like we're taking you to like the hospital. And then I don't know, somehow I ended up at Sick Kids, and then they did a biopsy and they were like, okay, this is not what they've been saying. Yeah, you have cancer and it's like super rare and blah, blah, blah.
That's usually how osteosarcoma is diagnosed too. Someone falls and it doesn't heal.
Really? So, yeah, because I guess if you just have leg pain, like how do you know?
I know. There was no like
how would you
injury.
know other than like, ow, my leg hurts?
Exactly.
That's so scary. They also said to like, they were thinking of amputating my leg from the knee down too.
Yeah.
Because and then they figured out a way. So the way my leg is restructured is they took my lat muscle from my left side of my back.
That's crazy.
And made it into my calf. So I don't actually have a calf muscle here.
Yeah.
I just have like a different muscle in the shape of a calf.
Yeah.
And then I have a skin graft. Do you have a skin graft?
No, I don't.
No? So you just have scars? Okay. So I have a skin graft. So they basically like shaved part of this thigh and then remade skin.
That's wild.
And then I was in a wheelchair, then a leg brace, and then just like I always wore like a compression sock, like covering sock, just to protect the scar from the sun.
Yeah.
And then now I wear a compression sock because obviously I have like mobility issues sometimes, like when I do like high intensity things. Because like even like if I point both my toes, like my right leg like doesn't point as far, just like mobility. So I wear a sock, but my mom would always like put oil and like Nivea cream and rub it into my scar. That was our aftercare.
I have quite a bit.
Really?
I'm kind of in the field of like navigating now. Like it's so different because when you're getting the treatment, it's like, oh, this is so good. It's helping this. It's helping this. And then you finish and it's like, okay, well, we need to like do all these things that chemo wrecked.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, so you did chemo.
Yeah. I did a year of chemo, which was a lot. I rocked. I got like a bunch of wigs. I made my parents spend a bunch of money and I never wore them.
Never wore them?
Not once.
That's so funny.
Chemo basically wrecked my hearing, which is one. I went back for my first hearing test like only last month, I think, and they're like, oh yeah, you have pretty severe hearing loss. And
really?
So, now I just have like those loop earplugs that I use, like not bad enough for like a hearing aid, but it's still
so they like help your
like for concerts and stuff. I was never wearing them at work with live music. Never wore earplug protection. But that's one thing. And then being fertile after chemo when you've already hit puberty is a big issue. And that was like my number one. I'm like, I want to be a mom.
Yeah.
It was like 6 months after chemo. If you didn't get your period ever again, that means that you like are infertile. And I did. So that was fine. But now that your body's not producing any more eggs and chemo already killed off like a bunch of eggs.
Yeah.
I like am talking about freezing my eggs because I have a smaller window than most people. But as far as like cancer goes, and I have to get mammograms starting next year because chemo can cause breast cancer, which is so strange.
That is so strange because chemo's supposed to kill.
I know. Other than that, like my risk of getting cancer back is the same as any other person, which is good.
That's good.
It's just I have to go like once a year. I get a lung scan. I get a heart scan because I have like heart arrhythmia from chemo.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just like I got this big binder and it was so overwhelming. I'm like, can I just be done? Like, I clocked out. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done. Like, we fixed it. Like, please stop.
So I still go to London now once a year.
Okay. Like, I don't have any aftercare. Like, the first couple years, like, up to I think when I was like 6, I'm pretty sure I went like once a month.
Yeah.
To like every couple of months, like we'd go down to Sick Kids and I'd get an MRI just to make sure that didn't come back because I think my cancer is also known to come back. So I would always go for like scans and they always just make sure, I don't know, yada. And then it went from like once a year to once every 2 years. And now like I haven't gotten an MRI since like before COVID.
Okay.
I was supposed to get one when it was like 2020, but I think I just didn't because of COVID.
Yeah. It may also be because yours was so long ago. I think when I
think so too.
Like the 10-year mark, I get scans every 5 years. So it does go down.
Yeah.
But
because I guess your risk like decreases every year.
And it's crazy like how different oncologists do different practices because I know people with the same cancer and they have different
Really?
Like, aftercare procedures.
I wonder if you were at like Sick Kids or like that other hospital you were McMaster. If they would do a different thing. Because I know with mine, they never, at the hospital, at least at Sick Kids, they never had a case like mine. So they kind of went in, they kind of went in blind and like figured it out. Because the way my mom says it, like tells me it is, she's like, they were just like, we're just going to amputate her leg. Like, she was like, no, you can't. Like, you have to figure out another way. Like, she's not going to want.
Yeah.
But thank God, because I like, you said you're like active and stuff. Like, do you do like lots of sports and like things with your leg that like?
I can pretty much do everything that I did before. I like wouldn't go into like contact sports now just because I'm also over that in my life.
I like hitting people anymore.
But like pretty much everything I was doing before I can do now. The only limitations that I would have is like I'm not great at jumping. I'm also scared to jump. Yeah. So like I wouldn't go on a trampoline.
Do you ever have this weird this might be weird, but I feel like you might get it. Do you ever have this weird thing that your leg might just snap?
Oh, all the time.
I've never told anyone that.
I thought my mom put that in my head because she would like see me for the first like 5 years after surgery. I would do anything. She'd be like, careful. I'm like, I he said I can do whatever I want.
So what is a bone graft?
They took my fibula from my left leg, which was perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
And they basically cut it in half and then stacked it on top of each other and used that to replace my tibia that had the tumor. Oh. And they just cut that out and threw it away.
Wait, so a part of your left leg is in your right leg?
Yeah. And then they you don't really need a fibula. The only thing it does is like kind of stabilize and lifts your big toe up. I can't really lift that toe.
Yeah.
But that's actually the one now that I'm like, not even the one with the cancer.
It's like your good one.
Yeah.
You're like, please don't harm her.
I know.
I'm like, I do find like I do some things and I'm like, like more like unstable at some like parts just because like both our legs were just like reconstructed. Like it's not a normal.
Exactly. And I have another after effect of surgery though is I have osteoarthritis already in this knee joint because it's still the same original knee joint.
Yeah.
But it's losing the cartilage from like rubbing against the plate that they put in there or something. Like I don't really have any effects like of it. I just if I work like 2 7-hour days I'll be in pain.
Jinx. I'm the same way. I worked at the golf course and I'd always be driving a golf cart. So like even like when I'm driving my car, like I don't know if it happens to you, but like especially because it has to be your right leg, like that's fine.
Lifting your ankle.
Yeah, and like you're always like doing this motion. I would drive for like 8 hours a day on a golf cart and then drive home. Yeah. And then plus be on my feet, and it was like I'm like I just can't wait to kick my feet up and like not like move. Like that's I do notice that too. When you got your diagnosis, how did you cope with it? And how did your family, I can like kind of guess, like not like I don't know, but like your family, and then did you have any like close friends that were kind of like there with you during the whole thing?
What's weird is that on my old like street in my old neighborhood, we had like 3 people back to back who got cancer. Like it was a girl in my class when we were in grade 8, I think, got Hodgkin's lymphoma, and then the teacher of that class got breast cancer. And then in grade 9, I got cancer. Like, a lot of my friends were already pretty
equipped to it.
Yeah. Of course, it was still, like, a big shock to everyone. And I don't really remember how I coped with it. I laughed a lot. I laughed a lot of things off. And just the one thing that everybody said was, like, I don't know how she's so positive.
Yeah.
So I was pretty much, just happy the whole time. And that
coping mechanism.
That's how you get through.
Yeah. I feel like I'm like the same way now. Like if people like get like upset, like because obviously with my brand I like explain my story a lot, and then people always get like teary-eyed or like they share their experiences, and I'm like blah, blah, blah. So I like try to be happy like with them, because I'm like, but like whenever someone like tells me that like someone is like sick or like they lost someone, I'm like, oh, that's like it's like a soft spot, because I'm
and
like,
it's so strange to me how like you would think going through this I know what to say. I have no idea what to say still
to this day. I've learned, because I'm like, if I'm gonna start this brand and have this brand, I have to tell people okay, obviously we don't, both of us, I can say we don't know what to say when people ask. I have worked with kids a lot. I don't know if you did too. Like back in the day I would do like summer camps, so obviously I'd wear shorts and like I wouldn't wear a sock to cover it, and kids or like even people in general would always ask me, and I'm like, it's either I got bit by a shark. I don't know if I've done that one. Do you ever like notice people like staring at your leg and not saying anything to you? Oh my god, it drives me insane.
That drives me nuts.
It's nuts.
I will say I don't notice it now as much as I used to. I don't know if I just block it out now or if my scars aren't as visible.
Yeah.
When I was in a wheelchair and I had a full leg cast on one and then a boot on the other, and I was bald, oh my god, like going to Costco, people would be so forward, like fully watching me. I'm like, what do you think happened? Like, do you think I want this? Like, I'd much rather people just come up and ask.
I've had so many instances where I know that someone's staring at my leg, and I'm like, I always tell my friend, like whoever I'm with, I'm just like, that person's like looking at my leg, like, like please just ask me, or like stop staring.
Yeah, literally take a picture.
Like take a pic and move on with your day. Because it's just like, it makes me feel uncomfortable because then I'm like, oh my god, I have something so different about me that like people are looking at and like wondering what it is.
I know, and I already feel so like out of place when I'm in like crowds and stuff. I hate it.
I know.
Adds an extra layer of anxiety.
Yeah, it depends on like, it hits me sometimes, but sometimes honestly I forget I even have it. Like even my close friends are like, I will say something about my scar and they're like, oh my god, I totally forgot you even have that. I'm like, dude, me too. But then the people around me remind me that I have it sometimes, which is weird. But I have these compression socks and they're like the same color as my skin tone. So I like wear them a lot to like the gym and stuff, but sometimes I catch myself just wearing them just so people won't look at me because I'd rather them be like, why is she wearing a sock than like, what is that like scar? Because like mine is like pretty noticeable, like even if you're far away. Also, like if people ask you, like if they know what you're doing or what you've been through, they'll be like, sick.
Yeah,
there's always like, there is a handful of people though that have like definitely looked at me and like been like grossed out by it, and it's like, dude, I'm sorry.
My worst one actually is my porch scar on my chest. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like a keloid now because they had to open it twice.
Is that where they had like a tube?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the amount of people who ask about this one, and it's always, oh my god, is that a hickey? All the time.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, and that's my favorite because when people ask like that, I'm like, no, actually, I had cancer. Yeah. And they're all like,
I love just saying that. No, I don't love
saying that. Like, that's something, you're bold.
Yeah, you are bold for that.
But people at work, like customers, all the time. I'm like, really? That's the first
That's
thing
so interesting.
But that's the one that kind of annoys me a little bit more than my leg. Yeah, because
then it opens like a big box of worms that you have to then talk about.
And that's like the awkward silence, but I usually just let them
don't you just like, or like whenever someone asks me, I always take like a hot second to think of exactly how I'm going to tell them.
Yeah.
Because it's either like, I had cancer, and then I feel like I'm like,
I know. I have fully started it by saying, don't get weird now.
Yeah. That's good, actually. That's actually good. Yeah, don't get weird about it, please.
People get they get shut down, and it's like everybody has been through something, or had someone they know go through something. I feel like it's such a taboo to talk about, though.
Yeah, I call it the C word. I'm like, I feel like I'm about to like scare these people so bad.
I love that.
But yeah, that's just something I guess we have to live with, because you can't, like, unless you lie, like, have you ever said that's just like a burn or like a...
No, I don't think I have. But I also, like 2 years ago, I was frying fish and I had like a huge oil burn down my thigh on that same leg with the big scar. And so now it's just like, it looks like I was you went through some terrible accident. Yeah. And that one, I honestly think I get more looks for.
Just having that, does that affect your everyday life? Do you find, like, or do you find you can go like days without even, like, with forgetting you even have it?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I forget about it.
Me too.
More often than not.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, I'll be, I don't know. I really don't think about it that much.
Yeah. What would you tell someone, or like give advice? I'll also try to answer this question. But like, if someone is going through something similar, would you say?
I have a lot of like little tips that I go for if I know someone's going through chemo or something, because like just little tricks of the trade that I learned.
Yeah.
Like using nipple cream for lip sores because it's okay for your mouth, and it's just like little things like that I know really came in handy. Someone we knew that got diagnosed, we gave her like a basket just full of everything that was like my godsends in the hospital. Like having a fan that you can hook up next to your bed right on you for heat flashes.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things I could do for chemo, but like the emotional aspect of it, I wouldn't even know what to say.
Yeah.
Just be there.
So for me, because I went through chemo, but I don't remember it. So that side, I would have no idea what to tell somebody. I'd be like, just, you got it. Like, the first hoodies I made, it said on the sleeve, like, I'm tough, I'm strong, I'll get better and live long.
Yeah.
So, like, my idea for that was, like, someone who was going through chemo would wear that while doing treatments, or, like, look at it to remind themselves. I would just be like, there's a rainbow after the storm, like just keep going, like there's not much you can
I wrote a list in treatment of things that I didn't like to hear.
Oh, nice.
And that was like probably the most valuable.
Yeah.
I hated when people said like, get well soon. I know it's so like common.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm gonna hate you for saying that.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things where I'm like, hey, I'm trying.
Yeah. Like
yeah. Or like everything happens for a reason. I'm
yeah.
Like, just stick with like, you got this.
Yeah.
Like this sucks, but you got this.
Yeah. So chemo, I don't know like much about it. Mm-hmm. Is it like you get an IV in your arm and then they inject you with it?
Yeah, but I had a port in my chest that they would access every time I went in. So
okay,
all of my chemos, I had 3 chemos: methotrexate, cisplatin, and doxorubicin.
Holy words!
I know. 2 of them were inpatient, and 1 of them was outpatient. So I would have to go every like Wednesday, I think, mm-hmm. and stay until Sunday, and then repeat the next week. And driving down to London and then back to Guelph. So
did you stay in the hospital? Yeah. Like did you have like a room that you would always go in, or
no?
So you couldn't even like, get comfy and stuff?
We would have to go to the PMDU, which is the Pediatric Medical Day Unit, and you sit there, get your port accessed, I think you get all your chemo when you're sitting down there actually, and then you get moved up to a room because you have to wait until the chemo's flushed out of your system to leave. So it was also a waiting game. Like,
so how long?
It was usually 4 days for me to clear, but sometimes it was 3. Like,
I was thinking like 5 hours.
No.
Oh my gosh.
It was a while. And it was terrifying because I remember my first chemo was 2016 Halloween night, and they were like setting up the chemo bag, and I think it was cisplatin, which is the one that knocked me on my ass every time. And it was like a bright red in an IV
so it's like
bag.
A bright, oh my god. Yeah. I would freak out.
And my whole family was there, and they're like, that looks terrifying. And I said something crazy for a 13-year-old to say. I was like, don't worry, this is the start of my healing.
Happy Halloween.
Write that down.
I like how you're positive. You definitely helped your family.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I feel like I've come out of it the complete opposite of what I was, because now I'm like freak out over every little thing.
Okay, that's my next question. Needles. How are you with needles?
I'm okay with needles still.
Okay, because I'm like petrified of them.
Well, probably because you were so young. That's trauma.
I think that is trauma. I think I have like PTSD literally from needles. When I got my MRIs when I was little, not until I was older, they stopped giving me an IV, but I would get IVs. I would sit on my mom's lap, and they for some reason would always put it in my hand. Which is like, my hand is like so thin. Like I have the best veins up here. I don't know why it was my hand. I don't know why. But I remember I'd sit on my mom's lap. They do it. Still this day, I will never ever watch a doctor put a needle in my body. I like have to look away, or I think I'll like actually like pass out from like so much stress. But yeah, whenever I would get, because I would get MRIs a lot. I don't know. Did you get MRIs?
I only got one at like diagnosis time.
Oh, okay. What type of scans did you do then? Or did you do scans? Or would you just like right into like chemo and...
I did like pretty much everything that they had. I did an MRI. I do a lot of x-rays still. Like echoes and cardiograms for heart. And then there was another one. I think it was a CT scan.
Yeah, so I only really did MRIs, but they would...
Those are the worst ones.
Yeah, because you're just sitting there with the loud noise. But since I was so young, the perks of going to sick kids, I don't know if it was just a sick kids thing, but definitely probably not. I remember you'd go down, it was in like the basement level, and then you'd sit, wait, put your gown on, or I'd always rock like the pants and the shirt. I have like so many pictures of me like with my IV. And then we would go, they'd do the IV, they would lay me down on like a stretcher, and then they'd put like one of the they'd like, what flavor do you want today? It was always bubble gum. They put like the mask on you, and it just smelled like bubble gum, and it was like
it just air?
It was like oxygen that like knocked me out.
Oh, that's
so
sweet.
It was not morphine, it was anesthesia, I think. Yeah. But it was like the best smelling thing. I like still I'd love to smell it again.
That's sweet.
I would wake up, like they'd be like, okay, like just smell, like smells good, and then I'd be out.
Yeah.
Then I would assume I would go to the MRI. I would wake up, because you know how anesthesia work. You're just like, you're like asleep, and then you wake up. And they'd be like, so what color freezy do you want? I'd always get like an orange freezy. And then I'm just sitting like with like all the beeping, you know, the beeps.
Yeah.
And then like my IV would be gone, and that was that. But then as I got older, they stopped giving me the smelly gas because I guess like my body got too big, like my body mass like didn't like it wouldn't knock me out.
I remember, I think it was London. I got my MRI, but I got these like movie goggles, and they play a movie.
Yes,
and I got all the way through Tangled.
I watched Tangled too.
No, you didn't.
Swear to God, but you know what happened to me? They never pressed play.
Oh,
so I was sitting there with the like play screen. I'm pretty sure it was Tangled. I'm pretty sure it was Tangled.
Restarted over again and got halfway through before they noticed it was replaying, and they're like, "Oh, do you want a different movie?" I'm like, "Yeah."
The one time I got the goggles, I'm pretty sure it was Tangled.
Goggles are sweet.
It's either Tangled or Shrek, but I really feel like it was Tangled. The way I reacted to that, I just remember I had like it was just like the press play screen. And I was too shy to be like, hello? Because you're just sitting there like staring at nothing.
That's something that would happen to me too.
And I'm like too shy. Like I don't want to be like, can you press play? Because also I'm like, what if they can't hear me? Like that's just awkward.
Yeah.
So I just sat there for 45 minutes just watching a play screen. Honestly, when I'm like in MRIs, I just like zone out and then like it's done.
Yeah.
Like it's like because you can't move your body too, which is so bad. I think that's why they put me to sleep when I was little because I think I moved too much.
Yeah.
Did you ever have morphine?
Yes.
For pain?
Yeah. I had morphine, like a prescription, and I think I would get it through IV drip.
Okay. So I'm allergic to morphine.
Oh, really?
But I learned that when I was given morphine after my surgery. Apparently I was sitting in my bed and I just got like my leg reconstructed. This was all like cause they took skin off and my back. And she was like, the morphine would make me twitch. So, like, I would, like, and you don't want to, like, move after having that surgery. You want to try to heal, but apparently I would just, like, wake up and twitch and then go back to, and, like, be in, like, lots of pain after that. So she said she was like, I would just, like, lay on top of you until you fell asleep. And I was like, that's so sad. I don't remember that, obviously, but, like, now that thinking about that, I'm like, dang, like, being, like, a little kid, it's probably so hard because, like, you can't, like...
explain.
Yeah.
Don't move.
Yeah, stop twitching.
Yeah. I was only in sick kids for, like, 5 days after my big surgery, I think. Because my limb salvage was 15 hours. And I woke up... This was the best part. I woke up and they're like, oh, does anything hurt? I'm like, my elbow. And they're, like, flipping through my chart. They're like, your elbow? But I think someone was leaning on it during surgery. Oh. I swear to God, I could not move my elbow for like 6 months after. Like I had to do full physio
just for your elbow.
But I was like so hopped up on painkillers. I wasn't even there. The Toronto Raptors came. I have a picture with them. Could not even
can't remember that. Okay, is there anything else you want to share that I may have not?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you ever pull the cancer card?
Yeah. Have you? Wait. Okay, thank God. Wait, that's a great question, actually.
Right? I've never really asked anybody else who's like been through.
I have pulled the cancer card. I don't like doing it.
I know, me neither. My family, we like are so bad. We make so many cancer jokes because I always say I'm allowed to.
Yeah, me too, actually.
And they're not like bad, but
I
was big on the like, oh, my leg hurts.
Yeah.
Like, years after surgery, and it always worked.
Yeah. I've definitely pulled it. Like, oh, my leg hurts. It didn't hurt.
Yeah.
Or like,
you got to.
Yeah.
I'll pull that until the day I die.
Yeah. For real. It's not like it didn't happen.
Especially when you have the scars to show it.
Yeah. One thing a lot of people don't know, I feel like, especially through like my Riley Socks Apparel thing, is that like I have a huge scar on my leg. So when you go to like airports, do you
I am so
light
sad
up?
Nothing happens.
Okay, so
I was so hoping it would.
Recently at the Calgary airport, you have to go through like those full body ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it always says there's something in my right leg. And I don't have anything in my right leg. So
That's
I'm like,
weird.
What the fuck is that? I need to get an MRI or something.
Really
yeah.
I don't think I've, like the ones that go around you.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been in one of those
Okay, I feel like it would definitely pop up for you if you went to those. Because if I'm walking through one, it doesn't beep.
Yeah.
But because it shows, the one they have in the Calgary airport, it shows like your body.
I feel like my leg would definitely show up in that one.
100%. Then you show them an X-ray and be like, see?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was great. Do you have any message for the Riley Socks Apparel team, for the people?
Be kind to one another. I think what you're doing is amazing.
Thanks.
And I take the chance to tell anyone about it whenever I can.
Thanks. That's so nice. Well, thanks so much for being my first ever RSA Meet the Peeps.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I was like, I need to do a podcast and just want to like talk to you, especially because like I've never ever met someone with a scar.
Yeah.
Like, just like the fact that you have like right leg cancer scar. I was like, dude, I've never met anyone
and pretty
like
much
that.
Everyone else I know that went through cancer as a kid is not open about it now.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
we learned so much. We do so many things the same. That's so funny. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up here. Woo! Bye! Bye! Please be recorded.